Welcome to Little Lights, the podcast where kids just like you learn how to shine for Jesus and be a bright light in this world. I am your host, Abby, and here at Little Lights, we will discover how to let God's love shine through us so that others can see Jesus in everything we do. We are here to make the world a little bit brighter, one little light at a time. So get ready because it is time to shine and we need you. Let's get started. Last week, we learned who we are to this world and the reason for our podcast name. Do you remember? Yes, we are little lights that shine for Jesus in everything we do. We learned that we are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. That is who Jesus calls us to be. So today, we are going to learn all about how God can use the smallest of the lights to do really big things. And that means you, yes, you can be a part of God's big plan to shine his love and make a difference in this world. I am not just talking about doing big things like mountains or oceans. I'm talking about something super small, like a little boy and his tiny lunch. Do you recognize the story we're going to talk about yet? Well, we are talking about when Jesus feeds the 5,000 from a little boy's lunch with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Can you imagine a little boy's lunch that can feed thousands of people? That seems impossible, but nothing is impossible with God. So let's take a look at our Bibles and start reading about the little boy and his lunch that fed 5,000 people. We are going to be in the book of John. We're going to read chapter 6 and verses 1 through 13. So we have a lot of verses to go through. So stay with me, okay? It's going to be kind of long. And you can go get your Bible and follow along, or you can just listen to me read to you, okay? After this, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, which is also called Sea of Tiberias. A large crowd was following him because they saw the signs he was doing for the sick. And Jesus went up on the mountain and sat down with his disciples. Now the Passover feast of the Jews was near, and when Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming towards him, and he said to Philip, "Where will we buy bread enough for all of these people to eat?" Jesus asked this to test Philip because he already knew what he was going to do. And Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread will surely not be enough for each of them to get a little bit of food. And one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now much was the grass in the places, so the men sat down, and there were 5,000 in number. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to those who were seated, and so the fish, as much as they wanted. And when they had eaten their belly full, he told the disciples, "Gather up all of the leftover fragments, so that nothing will be lost." So they gathered all the leftover food away and filled 12 baskets with leftovers from the 5 barley and the 2 fish left over from all of those who had eaten. Wow, can you imagine how crazy it must have felt to that little boy? We don't know much about him or where he was going or where he was coming from, but we do know is that he had a packed lunch for the day. He had 5 loaves of barley and 2 little fish. Something so small and tiny when compared to 5,000 people, right? But like I said at the beginning, nothing is impossible for God. God used this little boy's lunch to do something huge. The little boy didn't have much, just a small lunch that his mom or maybe his dad packed for him. And he offered it to Jesus. And what did Jesus do? He blessed it and he multiplied it, and there was enough to feed everyone. Not only that, my little lights, everyone was well fed and full, and there was even 12 baskets left over from that meal. No matter how small or little we think we have to offer Jesus, God can use us to do something big for his kingdom, if only we give him our 5 loaves of bread and our 2 fish. Another thing that we can take away from Jesus feeding the 5,000 is that someone packed that little boy's lunch. Maybe his mom or his dad or grandparents. The little boy was taken care of that day. He had a packed meal ready to go. His parents or grandparents have packed his food every day, but this day was different. That little food was enough for one little boy would be blessed by Jesus and fed thousands. Just like that little boy's parents or the person that takes care of him packed his lunch and prepared him for that day, your parents are doing the same thing. They install in you things that you will need to know about this world, Bible stories, and teaching you to be a little light at home around your family, your friends. Your parents and grandparents teach you every day to love you. They show you how to be a light to rouse around you. And your parents are installing in you the little gifts that one day will be used for Jesus to shine bright in a very big way. You might just be a kid, but when you give your heart to Jesus, he can do something so big, just like that little boy in his little lunch. Maybe you can wash the dishes for your mom, take out the trash when you get off the bus, maybe even help your Sunday school teacher stack up all the chairs after church. They may seem like super small things, but little things can make a big difference in someone's life, just like the 5 loaves and fish that fed thousands of people. God doesn't want us to be perfect. He just wants us to trust him and offer to him what we have, no matter how small it may seem. That little boy gave his lunch, and because of that, Jesus did something amazing. You too can shine for Jesus, even if you think your light is small. Thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of Little Lights. We hope you're feeling ready to shine bright for Jesus today and every day. Remember, no matter where you go, you can always be a light that shows God's love. If you've had fun today, make sure your parents subscribe to our channel so that way you can find our next episode super quick. Keep sharing your light with the world. Until next time, keep on shining, little lights. I'll see you soon.